Says, I fought guys who put the fear of God in me. I always put on my best performance against them. Benn and McCLELLAN will be blasting off in a couple of minutes. The arena in London Docklands. Over 10,000 people inside, waiting to see if Nigel Benn can upset all the punters, all the odds, and successfully defend against the mandatory challenger, the lethal hitter GERALD McCLELLAN. Frank Bruno outside the ropes this week. Let's join your MC for this evening, the distinctive Jimmy Lennon Jr. Into the arena, the challenger, but the red-hot favourite. I haven't seen him crack a smile since he arrived here, GERALD McCLELLAN. Moving up to super middleweight. When he was middleweight champion, he disposed of all challengers very quickly. There's no way Ben can outbox me, he says. Why stand there for 12 when I can get it done in 1? The G-Man. Magnificent reception for the champion. Like Tyson and Hagler, Ben says he's never ducked anybody. He's promised to be the old dark destroyer tonight. At 31, he knows there aren't many nights like this ahead of him if he loses. He's met the best and come through, and he has promised to shock everybody tonight. A terrific reception from Nigel Benn.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask you to rise for the playing of the national anthem.
The formalities are very nearly over. There's a real buzz about this place at the moment. Let's get back to Jimmy Lennon.
Ladies and gentlemen in attendance, boxing fans joining us across the UK on the ITV Sports Network and sports fans joining us around the world. We welcome you to the London Arena for the main event of the evening, Sudden Impact, brought to you by Frank Warren Sports Network and Don King Productions and sponsored by Acclaim Entertainment. This time is mentioned by the World Boxing Council, President Jose Sulaiman, Supervisor ringside Enza Yamaponi. It is scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing, along with the British Boxing Board of Control, the steward in charge, Nipper Reed. Positioned at ringside, Dr. Shapiro, Dr. Uttar, and Dr. Ross. Timekeeper at the bell is Nick White. I introduce to you the judges. Scoring this bout from ringside, Jose Juan Guerra, Anik Hongkong, and Franz Marti. Introducing to you the referee in charge of this main event. He'll be giving instructions after the introductions, Alfred Azaro. Right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, it's showtime with the WBC Super Middleweight Championship of the World. I introduce to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the red corner. He enters the ring wearing green trunks with white trim, fighting out of Freeport, Illinois, in the United States. He weighed in at trim and ready, 11 stone, 11 pounds, or 165 U.S. pounds. His tremendous record includes 31 wins, 2 losses, 29 big wins coming by way of knockout, including 14 straight knockout victories. Here is the current WBC #1 super middleweight contender, the former middleweight champion of the world, known as the G-Man, introducing GERALD McCLELLAN. And his opponent across the ring is the defending champion on my right, fighting out of the left corner. He is one draw with 32 wins coming by way of knockout. Here's the former WBO middleweight champion tonight, making the 7th defense of his current title, introducing the WBC Super Middleweight Champion of the world, he's
Ben's the people's champion, okay. Can he do it? Let's join our commentators, Jim Watt, and first of all, say good evening to Reg Guthridge.
Well, hello there. Pull up a ringside seat with us. And, well, to beat an old cliche to death, these two have the old equaliser. 33 first-round wins. Now, you've been warned by Frank Warren and Don King, as we did last week with Frank Bruno, but his opponent, well, he couldn't stand up in a 15-mile-an-hour wind, really. These two have had 16 title fights, can take it and dish it out. Ben, tremendous reception he's had here tonight, and he caged around like a lion there, roaring to get out. He really did. He's really fired up for this one, and he'll need to be, because this is some puncher.
McCLellan looking for him straight away, Reg. Right from the opening bell, he's looking for the finisher.
He's ducking very low, Jim, below the waistline, and he looks as though he's done him in the opening round, and we thought this might happen. That was why the odds are so big. Is he going to climb back? You can usually get a bit longer to get back from the canvas, more than 10, and he's going to. What a sensational start. We didn't expect Ben to go over this quickly, and I couldn't understand why he was propping himself on the ropes, a bit like wet laundry there for a second or two. This man is absolutely tremendous puncher. He's got to throw punches back now, Ben,
Ben
to
should
hang
take
in
another
there.
count, Reg. He should take another count until his head clears. Get back onto the one knee. Try and get that head clear. His legs are completely gone. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not defending. He's not attacking. He must take another count, get his head cleared.
He's technically ducking below the waistline, which he's not allowed, but does it matter? I don't blame him. I'd try and jump on this fella's back, but what he's doing now, that's the only way he can, is to claim him. The French referee is pushing McCLELLAN off, which won't please him too much.
The French referee has been very kind to Ben in this first round. He's given him a conveniently long count when he was out of the ring. He's trying to keep McCLELLAN off, but this man will not be denied. Ben badly shaken.
He's supposed to be at the most dangerous when he's wounded, Ben. He's proved that in the past, but this fella's a little bit higher class in some of the... See how generally he's almost falling over as he turned away from the referee.
Ben is not dangerous here, Rez, because he's so badly stunned he can't get any leverage into his counter punches. See, nothing in that punch, off balance, his body weight's back. That was a better shot, but McCLELLAN just takes it and comes back.
He's not generally known to the public at large, McCLELLAN, but the bookmakers knew, didn't they? They bet from the head, not the heart.
Again, the referee being a little bit kind to Ben here. It's as though he's trying to help him survive this round. Ben has to come back with something. Has to get his body weight forward and try and get some leverage into the punch. He's backed up in the ropes, no power.
This man is just remarkable. These first round wins he keeps having. Ben saying, well, I've beaten better men than he hasn't. And he could well do it. It looks, Jim, as though he might have just ridden the storm.
Still shaky, Reg. This kind of punishment takes some time to clear out of your head. But he come back with a good shot and actually made McCLELLAN back off there.
That first punch that came was really the small stone of a landslide from McCLELLAN.
He's doing the right thing now. Keep close.
That's it. He survived the round anyway. So all bets off on a first round decision. That was what the bookmakers were worried about. I frankly couldn't care less about them. I'm more concerned about Ben. And they brought in Danny Mancini here, who's very experienced in the corner, to help out with the manager Peter De Freitas and trainer this Kevin Sanders here. And let's have a little nick under that right eye, Jim, that Mancini, the cut man as they call him in the game, is taking care of. That was some round, wasn't it? Totally one-sided, mind you. I mean, Ben Jim only got a couple of punches in, really.
The only thing Ben got a chance to display at Reg was his tremendous fighting heart, staying in there when many fighters would have gone out and stayed out. But the punches thankfully weren't landing cleanly on the chin. There were stunning punches to the top and to the side of the head, but not punches on the chin. If those punches had been on the chin, the fight would be over already. Ben out the ring here, so he's entitled to a bit more time to get back in again.
And he wasn't pushed back in, that's against the rules, but I think they've parked the rules at the front gate by the look of it. Round two. Now, can you get that dizziness out? These eyes were in separate orbit at one stage there, Ben. He's a bit of a fussy referee, this European.
I think Ben should be thankful for that. His legs still look a little bit unsteady. You see, he didn't get any leverage. That's better. He has to get his body weight forward, get some punches off.
There's the old Dark Destroyer now, getting back to his fighting days. Both these fellas actually were amateur champions of their own country. You'd never believe it the way they're wading in here. They're not trying to baffle each other with science at the moment. It's soft.
This looks better for Ben. He's managing to get body weight forward, get some power into the punches. But McCLELLAN even looks smooth when he's backing off.
See, people always say, and quite rightly, he's a great puncher, but the fella can box a bit.
That was a good shot from Ben. That was a good left hook. That's exactly what he needs. Get some confidence back into that nine.
This is some comeback in the second round, isn't it? He's complaining about a rabbit blow there on the back of the neck, McCLELLAN.
Good right hand from Ben. See, McCLELLAN does not have a great defence. Ben has to go looking and trying to make the chances.
He had these fights, Jim McCLELLAN, with two of them with Julian Jackson like this, and he came out on top in explosive starts like this.
Well, Reggie, he does have a good chin, but he does not have a good defence. And he's missing now, Ben getting under the shots.
Crowd roaring now for Ben. That's some comeback. It looked all over, didn't it?
Another good right hand. Ben is getting punches through now, and he's shaking McCLELLAN up. McCLELLAN, no defence.
He's done it before as the underdog. Remember the Aaron Barkley fight that we covered on ITV, Jim, and Doug DeWitt. They were favourites to lick him.
McCLELLAN is looking a little bit sloppy in this round, Reg. As though he felt the fight was over.
We don't know anything about stamina, actually, McCLELLAN, because he's never had to go the full distance. It looks as though he's definitely got himself together now, doesn't it, Ben?
Another perfect left hook from Ben.
Well, they said it was going to be explosive. Yes, a wild two, but does that matter? The crowd are really going for this one, and I'm sure you are at home. Got some sweaty palms around here now, fidgeting around the ringside, and people wondering exactly what's going to happen now. Which one is going to go first? Welcome back now. Well, there was in that opening round, it looks as though Ben had more chance of surviving a firing squad than he did McCLELLAN, but he's got over it and he had a good second round. And as Jim Watt was saying, he looked a little bit defensively sloppy there, McCLELLAN.
See, Ben is ducking low as he comes forward, and that's working. McCLELLAN has not landed a decent punch in the second round, and he can't solve this low style of Ben's out. And Ben's coming out of the crouch, and he's landing the shots. Ben has found the perfect answer to McCLELLAN's style. Keep his own chin low and come up from the crouch with hooks.
And he's doing all the things that he promised as well, Ben.
McCLELLAN is actually trying to turn boxer here.
Well, if he didn't have any respect for him before the fight, he's got it now.
That's a good right hand.
Yeah, he's got some length in those punches, Jim, too, McCLELLAN. He can hurt from a distance punch.
But Ben's tactics are perfect in the second round, and the way he started the third tier. Well, he certainly gained McClellan's respect for the punches that he landed in the second round.
And old Frank Bruno's up there giving Nigel all the support he needs. He stood up to shout out there. I think he's had more sweat watching this fight than he could certainly work up against somebody called Marion Shepter Mallet last week. But this fight has certainly made up for it, even if it ends now.
Who would have thought in the first round that Ben would have McCLellan backing off in the third? Unbelievable. Ben's head just a little bit high that time. When he keeps it low, bobs and weaves as he goes forward, he's keeping out of trouble.
Oh, he's hitting with that uppercut there.
Suddenly McClellan has to think about defence.
Yeah, turn to southpaw then, Jim, to try and put him off a bit. See, these first round wins that he's had so many of them now, McClellan, it looks like, well, nothing recedes like success because he's got overconfident. But he's still there. Oh, dear.
Good left hook followed by a good right hand,
yeah, that long right hand I just said to you, that's the one he hurts with as well.
That is the big difference between the two. The impact of the punches when they land. McClellan's punches are hurting, but Ben's not really getting the same impact.
Oh, they're hurting all right, but not getting him over. And he's come back a lot better in this round.
It's all worked out beautifully with the new lagoon.
And we're in around 4. And certainly the old Royal Fusilier here is showing all the 5 in spirit, and he's mustered the will both to revive body and spirit after that what could have been a disastrous opener there for Ben. And Mr. McCLellan certainly not looking the 3-to-1 on chance.
Well, Ben just wants to keep that head low as he goes forward and come out of the crouch with either right or left hooks. That's what's been working for him in the second and third rounds. He has to keep coming forward. He can't allow McCLellan to back him up.
McClellan's never been beyond the 8th round, actually, Jim. Not completed 12, obviously, and Ben has 4 times, but I would still be surprised if it goes that far. We're only in the 4th round. The Super Middleweight Championship, 12 stone. And McCLellan came in at 11-11, Ben at 12 stone.
Well, Ben has had no trouble getting the punches home, Reg. McClellan's defence is very sloppy.
He's certainly given it the old blaster that we saw in the early days of Ben's career when he was really knocking them over, what he used to call the Mexican road sweepers. This fellow's a long way from that.
McClellan still hasn't solved out Ben's style. He's been missing with that straight, long right, and he's not coming back with the left hook, so Ben is keeping out of trouble.
Remember, he was a former WBO and WBC middleweight champion, McCLellan. He vacated those championships to come up into the higher division.
I think Ben has shocked McClellan with his punching power and his heart.
He's hanging on for dear life there, absolutely. He was like a sailor there, Jim, in a storm, you know, clinging onto the mast. He wouldn't let go of it. All right, it might be a bit scrappy, though. I say they're not battling each other with science particularly, but it's absolutely thrilling stuff, and the East Enders here are really lapping it up. No, they just whisked past it there, Jim. The crowd thought they landed, but the second punch didn't.
But the main thing is Ben's the one exerting the pressure, still pushing McClellan back. See, then he missed again with the right hand, McClellan, but didn't come back with the left hook. I mean, basic boxing tells you miss with the right, come back with the left hook. Well, this pace alone, Reg, something has got to give.
Fifth round, and Ben's corner, I think we heard him saying the other guy's running out of ideas, which is very possible. First time he's been with a new trainer, Kevin Saunders, and it's coming up for him. As you say, Jim, very few of them get McClellan on this back foot moving off like this.
McClellan is used to bullying people, Reg, and he's not doing that. Quite the opposite. Ben is beginning to bully him, pushing him back, not allowing him the leverage in his punches. Right hand again from Ben.
He's still lethal, though, Jim. I mean, Julian Jackson was a real hard puncher. Ask Harold Graham. And McClellan caught up with him in the fifth round.
But Reg, he's not looking sharp in his movements or in his punching.
No, I agree with that. I think at the moment it looks like being Ben's fight. Can you believe this? And there's a scorecard.
My card.
Well, actually, McGregor's got him the other way around, but it's whichever way you want to pick there, Jim.
No, I think Ben's work rate and his cleaner punches got him in front. McClellan's been jabbing and trying to keep him off balance. I like Ben's work far better.
Oh, what a shot!
That's a shaky one.
turned to southpaw again. You see, he's liable to confuse himself as well there, McCLELLAN. It shows a little touch of desperation there. I think he's a bit shocked that this fellow's got a heart as big as a lion anyway, hasn't he? He's worked himself into good shape here, good mental shape, fired up here, Ben. We've seen him come through a few of these in the past.
McClellan's looking a little bit more composed in this round. Still no defence, he's very, very reckless, but looking a bit more composed.
Almost losing the gum shield there, as though he's spitting it out, McCLELLAN. Frank standing up, there he is. See, I should imagine with his voice he could hear him all right, Ben.
Ben just beginning to feel the pace a little bit. He's thrown a lot of shots, Reg, missed with a lot, and I think the pace is beginning to tell on him now.
A long time since I've seen Frank Bruno more excited than this, and I hope you all are. I wonder why he's leaving it out of his mouth, the gum chew like that. I think the referee's entitled to tell him to put it back. It's obligatory. Oh, there he goes again.
It could be breathing problem, Reg. I don't know. I mean, I've never seen a fighter doing that with a gum shield voluntarily. Maybe breathing problems. Maybe he's really gasping for air there. This really is a pace.
Well, we had a build-up for this fight to say it was exclusive and explosive. And I doubt whether people believed us. So, Gary, I think, has got Nassim over there. Let's see what he has to say.
Nas, I don't know how Ben got back into the fight, but what a fight. He looks like he's going to win it now.
It's a great fight for Nigel now. I can see him taking him out, believe me. 2 more rounds. Nigel's looking the stronger fighter now. He's took the punishment. He's coming back with war. He's coming back with punches.
McCLELLAN really isn't used to this sort of fight. He gets them over quickly. Do you think this is now going to be in Nigel's advantage?
I think definitely this is Nigel's advantage because, I mean, he's blown himself out, basically. He's thrown all the punches, all the bombs he can. Believe me, it's Nigel's night now. Let's get it on, Nigel.
Are you, like the rest of the country, surprised that Nigel's doing so well?
I wasn't surprised because I said to people there might be an upset. As soon as I got into a place, I felt there might be an upset tonight because Nigel, once he starts knocking good shots out, Nigel takes him out.
Thanks.
Well, there it is, and you can see Naz in action next week on ITV from Edinburgh. So round 6. Looking at those points there, Jim, perhaps Barry McGuigan gave it the 2-pointer in that opening round from the knockdown. And that was...
yeah, that was just about swinging it.
We're just about swinging it. But, all right, well, let's call it level. But I would have leaned now a bit to Ben on the scores.
But what I noticed, Ed, there was an awful lot more care and attention in McClellan's boxing in the 5th round there. He's gained Ben's respect. He knows it's going a lot longer than they expected, and he needs some steam. He needs to look after his team.
So he's got him level now, Jim, with the unofficial. 3 judges, Switzerland, Thailand, Mexico, if ruled upon. I think they might have a superfluous judge. Still a long way to go yet.
I just think, Reg, with the pace that they're setting, someone has got to go physically, even if they're not knocked out. Sheer exhaustion could decide this fight.
Ben has always said if he takes him a few rounds, he really fancied the job, because there is some doubt really about McClellan's staying power, but it's never really been proved. On the other hand, you know, once he gets past the 8th round, it's unknown territory.
But Ben's still not allowing McCLellan to settle. This is what he must do. Go making the chances, push him back as much as possible.
No, they're not getting through those punches. They might look from the back of the hall, but they will. He was ducking and diving, to use a Bruno expression, quite well.
As long as Ben stays low, he's normally out of trouble. It's when he leans back, he's taking severe chances.
He's almost calling him on there, isn't he, Ben? You notice that? Yes, he's looking over to the corner saying, don't worry, I'm okay, I'm in charge, I got it here. Came in with a new hairstyle. He's had the old woolly hat on, concealing that from us at press conferences. Slipped on the wet there in Ben's corner, McCLellan.
Reg, I think we can rate this already as Ben's greatest ever performance. To come off the floor in the first round the way he did and come back in and actually take control of things the way he's doing here.
against a fighter of this caliber, proven. Made 3 defences of his championship at middleweight, McClellan. And a Don King favourite. He was certainly looking for him to win.
Benn's legs looking very tired now, Reg. McClellan's still just looking a little bit more composed, but he's still being pushed back.
There goes the shield.
I'm not surprised.
We've been talking about that. That was a racing certainty. The only bet of the night. I'd have liked that one, that it would come out. And a couple after the bell as well. He's hurt there. And I think Ben knew it. And just took the... Well, that's it. Well done, mate. Yeah. He bowed to the Frenchman there. Bit of Euros. I think we should get him on the politics, Jim. I'll get the word out, but then I'm so excited with the rest of you. The old-fashioned sawdust bowl. We got the lot here. Well, you would in the old East End, wouldn't you? So there's the gum shield coming out, Jim, in replay.
Well, I'm not surprised. It's been half out for most of the fight. Good left hook. The only slight problem for Ben, his punches are not having the effect you would like to see in McClellan. He's landing good shots. He's landing far better shots. Here's Big Frank getting caught up in the atmosphere and the excitement. But he's landing better punches than McClellan, but I'm not having the desired effect.
Good rub down there with Sanders and Mancini and De Freitas. They must be pleased with their man's night's work. Character there in McClellan's corner called Hyacinth with Turnip Speed. Well, American fight games are Klondike characters anyway.
Well, for sheer excitement, Reg, this one rates with any of the fights I've ever seen in all my years in the fight game.
Yeah, we're not worried about the technical side here too much, Jim, are we? They're both such competent boxers, but they're not bothering with that. They're just throwing bombs at each other.
Ben's shaking with that shot.
Yeah, and he's hit on the back of the head.
See, McClellan standing off a little bit, giving himself room to punch. Ben has to get closer.
He loves what he calls a tear-up, Ben, doesn't he? He promised us he would. Oh.
Ben has to get closer. He's given McClellan punching room here.
McClellan's getting a bit irritated as well by the referee getting in there when he thinks he could be unloading punches. And now Mancini's screaming in the corner and Sanders.
This referee could ruin a good fight, Reg. He wants to get out of there, but he decides that's a low punch. He's giving Ben some time to recover.
Been such a pace and such ferocity in the blows, Jim, that it's a noticeable now, just not cruise mode by any means, but by their standards now, a little bit slower, isn't it? Well, leg-wise, anyway.
McClellan is finding a little bit of punching room here. This is better. Ben has to march straight up with that crouch and punch as he comes out of the crouch, but if he stands within punching range, this fella's going to take over.
Just a point about this gum shield, if it went out among the crowd and nobody could find it, if McClellan's corner didn't have a spare, they would actually be disqualified under the new rules.
It's an overhand right again, landing for Ben, but once again, not the effect we'd like to see. Good left hook from Ben.
He's really doing the come on, mate. Anything you can do, I can do better stuff, Ben. Got himself in a great shape. At 31, it's no chicken in the fight game at this weight. That shield will come out again, Jim. I don't know whether it's got to be the breathing problem. Maybe his nose is busted.
Yeah, I think it's trouble with his breathing. I don't think his nose is busted. I just think it's been the pace of the action. The lungs are craving for more oxygen and he's got to open his mouth. That left hook missed. A good shot from Ben, just missed the whisker. See, McClellan's still trying to get a bit more composure into his work.
I saw him in a spa session once with Tommy Hearns in the Cronk Gym in Detroit, and they got applause. Can you imagine that at a workout?
That was a tremendous left hook from Ben. Again, when he was in trouble himself, that one really shook McClellan.
Barry McGuigan McCLellan has never gone past 8 rounds. Surely it's going to be a matter of fitness. This pace has been terrific.
Well, Nigel's lateral movement has given him real problems. He's loaded up throughout this fight, and they're starting to take his toll on him. He's very fatigued. He looks a lot more tired than Nigel does, but this is all down to who wants it the most, who's the fittest.
There's always a risk with Nigel that he could just get tagged.
Well, there is the risk, but he's finding McCLellan much easier to hit now, and also McClellan's finding him more difficult to hit. If McCLellan worked the body, he could probably have more success, but he's too tired to be able to think like that.
Looking at those two there, McCLellan looks the one distressed.
No doubt about that, and he's more worried than Ben is at this stage.
Working there in McClellan's corner, Ralph Citro, great record compiler in America and one of the most experienced of the Cup men. So round 8. I think McGuigan's got it about level. I've got Ben one up, Jim. You?
Yeah, I'll get Ben one up too, just in sheer work rate. Although McClellan was a lot more composed.
Yes, he has got it
the
level.
Previous round.
It's still that 2 point in the opening round, probably. That's maybe people think that Ben's a little bit farther ahead, but remember that the judges have to deduct that.
The only thing that worries me in the whole fight is the fact that Ben's getting home with good shots, but they're not troubling McClellan. And in a 12-round fight, that is a severe problem. See, here McClellan's strength beginning to take over. If McClellan starts backing Nigel up, then we're going to see some serious trouble for Ben.
Yeah, now Don King standing up there to oppose Bruno. Who knows? He might even be the next opponent. He's had some like him.
Ben's too tired now to think about tactics. It's just the sheer heart, the sheer warrior's heart that's keeping him going now. But he must try to keep his body weight forward, keep pushing this fellow back if he can do it.
Still not getting out of the way of punches, McClellan, but I tell you what, Jim, you can't question his heart either. He's taking some tough shots.
No, but Ben should be the one that's the happier of the two. I think McClellan and his people must have thought they'd be sipping champagne already. They would not have believed Nigel Benn would still be here.
No, they obviously turned out to be a bit complacent. He's actually not managed by...
Well, that was a good right-hand lead from McClellan.
Not managed by Don King anymore, by the way. But King, he's under the King umbrella, as they say, in a promotional sense.
Oh, good right hand again from McClellan.
Oh, he's down in trouble. He's in trouble in the 8th round here. He rolled back from that punch and he was hurt, Ben. Right above us here, Jim. Look at there he goes again. The wounded lion bit again. But he's back in trouble here.
Legs of Dick Dredge.
He's got to get out of that corner, Jim. He's got to get out of that corner, and he won't. But he doesn't mind being in the corner. That was the own impetus of missing with the punch. He's got to count there, the referee.
Ben was actually stumbling to the floor of his own accord.
Yeah, I know he was.
Punch landed, so the referee has to call it.
Exactly. Oh dear, that's put him back on the point schedule anyway.
Again, Ben comes back with that left hook. Right hand from Ben.
Well, we kept promoting this fight as being explosive, but I tell you what, we didn't promote it enough.
One explosive, of the few fights, Reg, even better than we anticipated.
Yeah. Punishing, grueling, and I'm hoping now for his sake, Nigel Benn, that that round didn't take too much out of him. And there's a rundown, as I said earlier, with the corner men. But the little bruise under Ben's eye has been taken care of okay. And there you are, that's the other side. With the trainer there as well. Let's have another look at that, Jim.
Well, once again, it's only the sheer heart, courage of Nigel Benn that kept him in the fight. These were the bombs that knocked out Julian Jackson and all the rest on McClellan's record, but Ben has taken them and actually come back with good shots of his own. Tremendous show of courage. This is where his legs actually dipped as though it was all over, and he seemed to stumble forward. I think Ben threw a punch, missed, and he was stumbling. He was going over to the floor of his own accord. See that one? He was falling over, but the punch just sent him over, so the referee had to count.
Yeah, I don't think McClellan can believe...
Oh, tremendous punch.
...that Ben's still there. First time he got into a 9th round in his life, McClellan.
See, Ben's tiring now, Reg, and his chin is up a bit higher.
He's trying to get his hands up there. They must have warned him, the cornermen there. Tuck the chin down a bit. You're taking chances.
As soon as a fighter's tired, Reg, up comes the chin. That's what's happening to Ben, and that's what's getting him in trouble.
Actually, McCLELLAN, Jim's just giving that little breather that Ben needs.
McCLELLAN is still trying to keep some composure in his boxing. Ben has to drive. He has to do it for everything from his heart.
Oh, he's trying to measure him with that right hand. You watch that? There it is. Just a bit too long.
There's nothing at all wrong with Gerald McClellan's courage or his chin. He's taking some real shots from Ben.
Yeah, there's the unofficial there by Barry, who's got him 2 points in front. Those knockdowns have done that. I tell you what, he can cancel out all the arrears any time then once he throws the right leather. They may not travel very far, his punches, but I tell you what, McCLELLAN gets the message. Just puffed under both eyes.
Thumb in the eye, I think, from McCLELLAN.
Oh, yeah, he's complaining there.
Not happy, not happy.
No, he's caught his head. Caught him with his head.
Yeah.
Oh, now the crowd don't like this. And the Penny Mancini screaming at the referee, make him fight on.
This is good news for Ben. This is good news for Ben. McCLELLAN doesn't like it.
Well, Ben always said if he gets in a distance with this guy, we'll find out if he's got it.
Well, big question mark hangs over McCLELLAN now, Reg. Clashes of heads are just expected in boxing. You take them and go on with the job. Lack of professionalism there from Gerald McCLELLAN.
Just rushing in, Ben. It wasn't sort of stand-off, deliberate butt or head of ball or something. Ben still doing what you said, the best thing, Jim, early on, that he keeps ducking below a lot of punches. Yes, of course he's getting caught with plenty.
McClellan's strength is not in his uppercuts, it's the straight punches and his hooks. So if Ben keeps his chin low, he has very little to fear. McCLELLAN does not use uppercuts very often.
To tuck the gum shield back in there too, McCLELLAN, at the end of the night. Well, WBC Super Middleweight Championship. They're the two of the tournament, and as I say, added to that, Hyacinthus turning speed. There's a name for you. So that little, what I call the doll's house iron, is actually called an end swell that they push against the eye, which is iced up. Let's have a look at this.
Well, in that round, the courage was shown. I mean, that was just a stumble from Ben. It didn't even look to me as though the heads collided. I thought he was actually complaining about a thumb. Yes, he actually did. Yes,
yeah, but it was, it wasn't a butt by any means. He fell.
Wait, right, now listen, he half swallowed it that round. Don't forget the jab. Come on now, 3 rounds to go.
Come on,
you'll be the champion of champions. Come on.
Well, there it is. It's a bit like having Lester Piggott on a classic horse when old Denny Mancini starts shouting at them and getting them home in the last furlong of a fight. 10th round of this scheduled 12 at the 12-stone division. And the 7th defence here by Nigel Benn, former light middleweight champion as well.
Ben's actually looking better here than he was 2 rounds ago. Got his confidence back again, showing a little feint. Pushing McCLELLAN back, has a good jab for McCLELLAN.
He's blinking a lot, isn't he, Jim? You notice that, McCLELLAN, on the way back? Maybe a mannerism, but I doubt I've never noticed it before in his fights that I've seen. Well, there it is again. He's still got him a couple of points. It's just now what the Swiss, Thailand and Mexico judges think. Referee from France doesn't vote. You saw that punch coming. The crowd must have seen it coming. They're on their feet. Gerald McCLELLAN didn't see it now. He's got to get up at the 8. There's no 3 knockdown rule, as we told you earlier, if one man goes down in 3 rounds.
Bad signs here from McClellan, Reg. He almost swallowed in the previous round. This is bad. Great signs for Nigel Benn.
This is all heart is won in this fight, Jim.
He's punching
and he's going to do it. He's going to stop him, I tell you that now. This fella doesn't like it the way he's going down. Of course, you're not going to enjoy being hit. But Jim Watt and I, when they go down like that, and he's shaking his head, he's going to count him out, isn't he? He's going to count him out, Jim. He's done him. He's quit. What a fantastic performance. This ring is going to be like the London Underground in the rush hour. Crazy time. What a result for Nigel Benn, and he deserves it. Fought brilliantly, courageously, and he's still the world DC super middleweight champion. Well, it's a long time since we've had excitement like this at a British fight, Jim. Now, these were the questions that Nigel was saying. If this guy goes long in the fight, I guarantee I'll stop him. And he knew what he was talking about.
Well, tremendous performance. Even if Ben hadn't won tonight, it was going to go down as his career best performance. Just his sheer courage and the technique and the tactics in his battle. But he's won the fight. He's punched the life right out of GERALD McCLELLAN, the most dangerous man on the planet. Nigel Benn is still a WBC super middleweight champion.
And that's the border control doctor there in the corner with GERALD McCLELLAN. Just making sure that he's okay. And we're still not sure. I mean, obviously, the punches do it. We're not hiding that. But there seemed to be another reason, Jim. I said to you seconds before, he's blinking heavily. I haven't seen that before.
Now, I think it was a heart problem, Reg. I'm not doubting McClellan's courage, but he decided the first time he went on the floor, it was the same punches that's been taken all night long. But suddenly the chin could still take the punches, but the heart could not. Down he went, head as clear as a bell, eyes as clear as a bell, nothing wrong with him. Apart from the fact that that punch in the jaw had an effect on his heart. We can't question the man's courage with the punches he's taken leading up to this particular round. But Nigel Benn has just punched the fight right out of GERALD McCLELLAN here.
In the fight trade, this is one of the biggest upsets for many years, I promise you that.
Well, especially the start Ben had. I mean, very few fighters have come back. But is it a case of, once again, of the bully, when the tables are turned, not used to taking the punishment and can do it? But what a tremendous performance and a tremendous finish from him. See, once again, not a devastating knockdown. McClellan has decided to go on the floor, looked at the referee and just stayed there. So, in effect, it's actually a retirement from GERALD McCLELLAN. On his knees to the finish. See, Ben still plenty of heart, plenty of fight. Everything Ben has, he dishes out, never quits. But here we see GERALD McCLELLAN actually quitting.
Well, that's what they call punching the life out of you. And he's lying on the floor now, McClellan, Jim. Now he's got to get the stewards and the security boys have got to get everybody out of the way. That's the border control doctor there.
I think this could be exhaustion, Reg, with a bit of dehydration. I don't think it's the punches that he's taken. But they'll certainly take him off to hospital overnight.
Oh, absolutely. Well, let's hope he's going to be okay. Ben doesn't realise it yet, by the way, while he's doing this, and I'm sure that at least he would go over there. But we're nearly ready, I think, for Gary to try and get hold of him now and explain what's happening. Over to Gary.
Nigel, that not only was your greatest ever performance, that was one of the great boxing performances of all time in this country.
Yeah, well, everyone, all you lot were cheering him up, giving it this, giving it that. I knew he wouldn't be able to go the distance. I know. Yeah.
Nigel.
No, you listen to me. I'd like to thank my trainer, Kevin Saunders. Everyone's saying, oh, we ain't going nowhere without Jimmy Kidd. Proved it wrong. And not only that, the person I'd like to thank most of all is Paul McKenna, who hypnotised me and made me believe in myself. I don't care what I know. You listen to me. I'm always listening to you.
Can I listen?
No.
Can I talk about the fight? Because it was a fabulous performance, Nigel. In the first round,
and thanks to my manager,
Mike McClellan is very badly hurt, actually. They've got a stretcher in here, Nigel. McClellan, sorry. Mike McClellan is very badly hurt. So let's just move away a second to give Mike a bit of a chance. Nigel, in the first round, Gerald McCLellan, sorry, getting confused here. In the first round, actually, I had to help push you back in there. I had to help push you back in there. The first round, you're in a lot of trouble.
They only brought them over here to bash me out, mate. Let me tell you that now. I'm saying what I want to say. They only brought in here to try and bash me out, mate. No chance.
Bill Kelty, can you just get out of the way so we can see? Can I just, Nigel, talk about that performance? It was sheer guts on your part to get back in there after the first round.
I don't care if he knocked me down, I was ready to go with him. Whatever he wanted to do, I was ready to match him. All the way, mate, all the way. Now you might start believing in the Dark Destroyer. Start believing I'm number one, second to no one. The other person I'd like...
made a believer out of me. Okay, we're going to wrap this interview because we have a serious problem in the ring here, Jim, with Gerald McCLellan. We have a serious problem with Jim McCLellan. Jim Rosenthal.
Yes, of course, that is a very worrying aspect of this fight. Gerald McCLellan continues to receive attention in the ring there. And we, of course, and everybody here, I'm sure, can only hope that the challenger makes a complete recovery.
Take Gerald McCLellan through this aisle. Please clear the aisles and assist us.
We have a program just after midnight tonight, and of course we will give you the very latest details on the situation here. We all hope Gerald McCLellan will be fully recovered by then. But what a performance by this man, Nigel Benn, and that is a very worrying sight indeed. And concern spreading around this arena. Really, it's been a wonderful performance by this fella. You can't take it away from him. What Nigel Benn has done here tonight, he has proved everybody wrong. And he has done it showing unbelievable fighting heart. And of course, we're back after midnight tonight. Lloyd Honeyghan, the old ragamuffin man, in against Adrian Dodson, unbeaten tonight at 12:05. And there's a competition as well. That's next Saturday, Prince Nassim Hamed. Next Saturday, 10 o'clock, here on ITV. He's done it. Nigel Benn. What a fight. Bye-bye.
This is LWT, now 10 minutes later than billed. More boxing action from the London Arena. From the London Arena. Earlier on tonight we had a magnificent battle between two natural-born hitters, Nigel Benn and Gerald McCLellan. McCLellan, the American, collapsed in his corner after the fight. He was unconscious for 5 minutes. He left London Arena on a stretcher. Nigel Benn, too, left in an ambulance. Both went to hospital. The good news is that McCLellan has had a precautionary brain scan. The doctors say that things are looking okay at the moment, and McCLellan should be released later this weekend. Nigel Benn has also had an X-ray on a possible broken jaw. The feeling is he'll be okay to go home very shortly as well. John Morris from the Board of Control. You did a few things right here that helped that situation.
Well, I hope so. We've had a lot of scares over the years, and when Michael Watson was hurt, there was a complete examination of what we did, and we turned our policies into regulations, and they've been adapted and improved since. And tonight, well, I'm delighted to say it all worked.
Just tell us what you instigated in that corner that helped things so much, or we hope helped things so much.
Well, exactly. There are people that say there should always be an anaesthetist present, but in fact, what our policy is that there has to be a doctor present working with the paramedics who can intubate, that's get tubes down so the fighter can breathe, and if necessary, stabilize a head injury with drugs. And for that, you do need somebody experienced in anesthetics. But tonight, quite frankly, with the size of the show and these two very important world championships, and we all knew, and of course, weren't we right, that Ben and McCLELLAN was going to be explosive, I said, right, we will go the whole hog. Not only did we have an anaesthetist present, and he was great, although he didn't actually have to use any drugs, but we had 4 other doctors, 2 ambulances, 2 sets of paramedics, and really everything was right. In fact, right down to the fact that I myself, with my mobile, alerted London Hospital's neurological unit, who of course knew the show was on, we told them that, and said, right, we've got a boxer on his way, will you be ready for him?
Just briefly, it looked very worrying. Millions of people out there were worried when they saw that live on ITV. How worried were you?
Well, I was very worried. Of course I am. I mean, I'm relieved now that it all worked, but I just have I think, the chastening thought, what would I be thinking if it hadn't worked? Well, it did, and remember, it doesn't just have to work here at London Arena. Sure. It has to work on about 230, 35, 40 shows a year all over the country. That's what we've got to make certain happens.
John, thanks very much indeed.
Pleasure.
Well then, Ben against McCLELLAN is already established as one of the greatest fights we've ever seen in modern times.
Ben, tremendous reception he's had here tonight, and he caged around like a lion there, roaring to get out. He really did. He's really fired up for this one, and he will need to be, because this is some puncher.
McCLELLAN looking for him straight away, Reg. Right from the opening bell, he's looking for the finisher.
Ducking very low, Jim, below the waistline, and he looks as though he's done him in the opening round, and we thought this might happen. That was why the odds are so big. Is he going to climb back? You can usually get a bit longer to get back from the canvas, more than 10, and he's going to. What a sensational start.
But the punches thankfully weren't landing cleanly on the chin. There were stunning punches to the top and to the side of the head, but not punches on the chin. If those punches had been on the chin, the fight would be over already.
Well, there was, in that opening round, it looks as though Ben had more chance of surviving a firing squad than he did McCLELLAN, but he's got over it, and he had a good second round. And as Jim Watt was saying, it looked a little bit defensively sloppy there, McCLELLAN.
See, Ben is ducking low as he comes forward, and that's working. McCLELLAN has not landed a decent punch in the second round, and he can't solve this low style of Ben's out. And Ben's coming out of the crouch, and he's landing the shots. Ben has found the perfect answer to McCLELLAN's style. Keep his own chin low and come up from the crouch with hooks.
Remember, he was a former WBO and WBC middleweight champion, McCLELLAN. He dictated those championships to come up into the higher division.
I think Ben has shocked McCLELLAN with his punching power and his hat.
He's hanging on for dear life there, absolutely. It was like a sailor there, Jim, in a storm, clinging onto the mast. He wouldn't let go of it. A long time since I've seen Frank Bruno more excited than this, and I hope you all are. I wonder why he's leaving it out of his mouth, the gum chew like that. I think the referee's entitled to tell him to put it back. It's obligatory. Oh, there he goes again.
It could be breathing problem, Reg. I don't know. I mean, I've never seen a fighter doing that with a gum shield voluntarily. Maybe breathing problems. Maybe he's really gasping for air there. This really is a pace. Good left hook from Ben.
He's really doing the come on, mate. Anything you can do, I can do better stuff, Ben. Got himself in a great shape. At 31, it's no chicken in the fight game at this weight. that shield will come out again, Jim. I don't know whether it's got to be the breathing problem. Maybe his nose is busted.
Yeah, I think it's trouble with his breathing. I don't think his nose is busted. I just think it's been the pace of the action. The lungs are craving for more oxygen and he's got to open his mouth. A left hook missed. A good shot from Ben, just missed the whisker. See, McClellan's still trying to get a bit more composure into his work.
I saw him in a spar session once with Tommy Hearns in the front gym of Detroit, and they got applause. Can you imagine that at a workout?
That was a tremendous left hook from Ben. Again, when he was in trouble himself, that one really shook McClellan.
I think McGuigan's got it about level. I've got Ben one up, Jim. You?
Yeah, I've got Ben one up too, just in sheer work rate. Although McClellan was a lot more composed.
Yes, he has got it
the
level.
Previous round.
It's still that 2 point in the opening round, probably, that's maybe people think that Ben's a little bit farther ahead, but remember that the judges have to deduct that.
The only thing that worries me in the whole fight is the fact that Ben's getting home with good shots, but they're not troubling McClellan. And in a 12-round fight, that is a severe problem. See, here's McClellan's strength beginning to take over. If McClellan starts backing Nigel up, then we're going to see some serious trouble for Ben.
Yeah, now Don King standing up there to oppose Bruno. Who knows? He might even be the next opponent. He's had some like him.
Ben's too tired now to think about tactics. It's just sheer heart, the sheer warrior's heart that's keeping him going now. He must try to keep his body weight forward, keep pushing this fellow back if he can do it.
Still not getting out of the way of punches, McClellan, but I tell you what, Jim, you can't question his heart either. He's taken some tough shots.
No, but Ben should be the one that's the happier of the two. I think McClellan and his people must have thought they'd be sipping champagne already. They would not have believed Nigel Benn would still be here.
No, they obviously turned out to be a bit complacent. He's actually not managed by...
Well, that was a good right-hand lead from McClellan.
Not managed by Don King anymore, by the way. But King is under the King umbrella, as they say, in a promotional sense.
Oh, good right hand again from McClellan.
Oh, he's got him. He's in trouble in the 8th round here. He rolled back from that punch and he was hurt, Ben. Right above us here, Jim. Look, there he goes again. The wounded lion bit again. But he's bang in trouble here.
Legs of Dip Dredge.
He's got to get out of that corner, Jim. He's got to get out of that corner, and he won't. But he doesn't mind being in the corner. That was the own impetus of missing with the punch. He's got to count there, the referee.
Ben was actually stumbling to the floor of his own accord.
Yeah, I know he was.
The punch landed, so the referee has to call it
exactly. Oh dear, that's put him back on the point schedule anyway.
Again, Ben comes back with that left hook. Right hand from Ben.
Well, we kept promoting this fight as being explosive, but I tell you what, we didn't promote it enough.
One explosive, of the few fights, Reg, even better than we anticipated.
Yeah. Punishing, grueling, and I'm hoping now for his sake, Nigel Benn, that round didn't take too much out of him. And there's a rundown, as I said earlier, with the cornermen. But the little bruise under Ben's eye has been taken care of okay. And there you are, that's the other side. With the trainer there as well. Let's have another look at that, Jim.
Well, once again, it's only the sheer heart, courage of Nigel Benn that kept him in the fight. These were the bombs that knocked out Julian Jackson and all the rest on McClellan's record, but Ben has taken them and actually come back with good shots of his own. Tremendous show of courage. This is where his legs actually dipped as though it was all over, and he seemed to stumble forward. I think Ben threw a punch, missed, and he was stumbling. He was going over to the floor of his own accord. See that one? He was falling over, but the punch just sent him over, so the referee had to count.
Yeah, but I don't think McClellan can believe...
Oh, tremendous punch.
...that Ben's still there. First time he got into a 9th round in his life, McClellan.
See, Ben's tiring now, Reg, and his chin is up a bit higher.
He's trying to get his hands up there. They must have warned him, the cornermen there. Tuck the chin down a bit. You're taking chances.
As soon as a fighter's tired, Reg, up comes the chin. That's what's happening to Ben, and that's what's getting him in trouble.
Actually, McClellan, Jim's just giving that little breather that Ben needs.
McClellan is still trying to keep some composure in his boxing. Ben has to drive. He has to do it for everything from his heart.
Oh, he's trying to measure him with that right hand. You watch that? There it is. Just a bit too long.
There's nothing at all wrong with Gerald McClellan's courage or his chin. He's taking some real shots from Ben.
Yeah, there's the unofficial there by Barry, who's got him 2 points in front. Those knockdowns have done that. I tell you what, he can cancel out all the arrears any time there once he throws the right leather. They may not travel very far, his punches, but I tell you what, McClellan gets the message. Just puffed under both eyes.
Thumb in the eye, I think, from McClellan.
Oh, yeah, he's complaining there.
Not happy, not happy.
No, he's caught his head, caught him with his head.
Yeah.
Oh, now the crowd don't like this. Penny Mancini screaming at the referee, make him fight on.
This is good news for Ben. This is good news for Ben. McClellan doesn't like it.
Well, Ben always said if he gets in a distance with this guy, we'll find out if he's got it.
Well, big question mark hangs over McClellan now, Reg. And clashes of heads are just expected in boxing. You take them and go on with the job. Lack of professionalism there from Gerald McClellan.
Just rushing in, Ben. It wasn't sort of stand-off, deliberate butt or head of ball or something. Ben's still doing what you said, the best thing, Jim, early on, that he keeps ducking below a lot of punches. Yes, of course he's getting caught with plenty.
McClellan's strength is not in his uppercuts, it's the straight punches and his hooks. So if Ben keeps his chin low, he has very little to fear. McClellan does not use uppercuts very often.
10th round of this scheduled 12 at the 12-stone division. And the 7th defence here by Nigel Benn, former light middleweight champion as well.
Ben's actually looking better here than he was 2 rounds ago. He's got his confidence back again, showing a little feint, pushing McClellan back. That's a good job for McClellan.
He's blinking a lot, isn't he, Jim? You notice that, McClellan, on the way back? Maybe a mannerism, but I doubt I've never noticed it before in his fights that I've seen. Well, there it is again. He's still got him a couple of points. It's just now what the Swiss, Thailand and Mexico judges think. Referee from France doesn't vote. Oh! Well, you saw that punch coming. The crowd must have seen it coming. They're on their feet. Gerald McClellan didn't see it now. He's got to get up at the 8. There's no 3 knockdown rule, as we told you earlier, if one man goes down in 3 rounds.
Bad
3
signs here from McClellan, Reg. He almost swallowed in the previous round. This is bad. Great signs for Nigel Benn.
This is all heart is won in this fight, Jim. And he's going to do it. He's going to stop him, I tell you that now. This fella doesn't like it the way he's going down. Of course, you're not going to enjoy being hit. But Jim Watt and I, when they go down like that, and he's shaking his head, he's going to count him out, isn't he? He's going to count him out, Jim. He's done him. He's quit. What a fantastic performance. This ring is going to be like the London Underground in the rush hour. Crazy time. What a result for Nigel Benn, and he deserves it. Fought brilliantly, courageously, and he's still the world DC super middleweight champion. Well, it's a long time since we've had excitement like this at a British fight, Jim. Now, these were the questions that Nigel was saying. If this guy goes long in the fight, I guarantee I'll stop him. And he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, tremendous performance. Even if Ben hadn't won tonight, it was going to go down as his career best performance. Just his sheer courage and the technique and the tactics in his battle. But he's won the fight. He's punched the life right out of Gerald McClellan, the most dangerous man on the planet. Nigel Benn is still a WBC super middleweight champion.
Nigel Benn, the Dark Destroyer, in 10. A 40-to-1 shot, if you had that. Well done if you did. Well, of course, great concern about the condition of both boxers. We can get the very latest situation now by joining Gary Newbon. He's outside the Royal London Hospital, not too far away from here, actually, in Whitechapel.
Gerald McCLELLAN is currently undergoing tests here at the Royal London Hospital, where both boxers were admitted some time ago by separate ambulances. In fact, McCLELLAN was wheeled past me just a few moments ago with an oxygen mask and on a drip. He was on his way to have a scan. Until they've seen the x-rays, the hospital can't possibly tell us, or indeed know themselves, if McCLELLAN has any problems. Meanwhile, good news for Nigel Benn. He's been checked over thoroughly, and he left the hospital after being discharged just a couple of minutes ago. The hospitals say that he appears to be well, but after any percussive injury to the brain, it's important for the patient to be watched carefully. So we wait to see what the news is later this morning on Gerald McCLELLAN.
Thank you, Gary. So really confirming what we said at the top of the show there. Nigel Benn, I'm delighted to say, out of hospital, and Gerald McCLELLAN. Well, the news is pretty encouraging. Let's hope Gerald McCLELLAN is out probably later today, later on Sunday. Frank Warren, good news about both the fighters there, and I think we can now just look back and say, what a fight and what a performance by the old Dark Destroyer.
It was unbelievable. I mean, I've criticised him in the week for his lack of cooperation, but after seeing that, how can you criticise the guy? It was a tremendous display of grit, heart, you know, determination. He just outgained, at the end of the day, outgained McCLELLAN.
We thought it was going to be sort of Shepton Mallet revisited, if you like, in that very first round when Nigel Benn went down. And there was a little suspicion that, or a few people at ringside saying that perhaps he took a bit of a long count there.
Well, I talked to the Showtime people, the American TV company that covered it, and they said that it was 10.5 to 11 seconds, so
right.
Really it doesn't count, does it? You know?
I think we've put a clock on it, and our boys make it 9. There's one rule that says if you're out of the ring, you get 20 seconds to climb back in, but I don't think that applies to the apron, does it,
You've got to be
Frank?
off the apron, so I understand.
But, I mean, long count or not, to come back from that sort of early mugging was a wonderful achievement.
The fight just went to and fro, didn't it? Throughout the fight, even the 8th round when Nigel was in trouble, he came back, hit McCLELLAN with a peach of a right hand, and I think that was the absolute turning point for the fight. After that, it was his fight. And, you just can't take it away from the guy. He digs down deep and he gives the crowd and the public what they want. That, for me, one of the best fights I've ever seen was Tommy Hearns and Hagler. The 3 rounds.
It was in that class,
that was
you're right.
10 rounds of exactly the same. 10 rounds of it. It was superb.
Right. And just finally, Frank, I mean, looking at the state that Nigel was in at the end there, he is going to want a pretty long rest.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Again.
I'm sure, he'll have a good rest. And when he's ready, I'm sure and it's going to be when he's ready.
You'll have to negotiate with him again.
No, he's okay. We got it. We got a contract, and as soon as he's ready, and his time's right, he'll be back in the ring, and it'll be back over in his country.
Let's hope so. Thanks a lot, Frank.
Thank you.
Plenty of boxing coming up after the break. We've got a competition as well, and we're going to look at one of the, living boxing legends, really, the old body snatcher, Mike McCallum. See you for that in a couple of minutes. Again from the London Arena. Another world title fight coming up for you now. Mike McCallum defending his WBC light heavyweight crown against Carl Jones from Las Vegas. McCallum is wearing the red trunks and he's very much on top as we join Jim and Reg for the 4th round.
Seconds up, round 4.
4th round then of this WBC version of the light heavyweight championship, with a man that I consistently called the ring general here, Mike McCallum, the Jamaican from New York, and almost a part-time Cockney these days as well. And Carl Jones, one of the kind of hard-working journeymen on the American circuit, and he's certainly given this his best shot. Couldn't find him in the light heavyweight rankings recently. He was a super middleweight at 12 stone. He only came in at 12.3 for this one.
McCallum sending a couple of shots to the body there. Maybe just trying to get the hands back down where they were earlier.
He always looks as though he's got time to do things, doesn't he, McCallum? Depends to think at this age whether they start slipping or not, sort of cheat their way through, which you can't do it in this game. Well,
McCallum backing him up now, Reg.
Yeah,
This is where the cave-in might occur.
Yeah, the back row felt that one, didn't they? You heard the whoos and ahs when that right hand went in at the start of this now. Yeah, he's starting to break him up slowly there, isn't he, McCallum?
A good championship fight, nevertheless, Reg. I mean, this fellow given it the best.
What a gutsy guy he is. Full marks to him. He's taking some right above us here, Jim. You can feel those shots going, and I know my ribs are aching. Just toe-to-toe stuff there. It really is gritty stuff. Stand still while I hit you, McCallum. Look at this. But he won't have it, Jones. But he's shipping a bit too much punishment, Jim, I think, to really try and last 12, surely.
Well, these are quality punches he's throwing back. I mean, no clinching. McCallum been warned for a little stray punch there, but no clinching, toe-to-toe, real good action. And as I say, Jones's punches are top quality. But he's just been caught too often himself, and his defences are non-existent at times.
So you're moving up a division, Jim. You've got to carry the punch with you. I'm not suggesting that McCallum hasn't, by the way, but that's not as easy when you're hitting a heavier man, although he's only 3 pounds heavier, McCullen. Oh, yeah. So you get a mandatory 8 here, which we don't do in British boxing, but in World Championships. Had a good look at him there, Larry O'Connell. The cutaway pictures then of both guys. It's always hard work for those fellas in the corner. I know they get out when the bell rings, but their contribution's vital. Jim?
Well, a knockdown there, Reg. He just seemed to walk on a little right hand, but from their position it looked like more of a stumble, their commentary position, but down he went and he stayed there.
And that's a 10-8 round now, Jim, under WBC rules. It was a bit low, but the referee didn't say anything.
And as I say, it looked more like a stumble than a knockdown, like the body shot. You don't normally go down that way from a body shot. It looked more like a stumble.
5th round. So let's put the challenger in the black trunks a little bit in trouble here, Carl Jones, because it looked a bit low to me, the punch. Unfortunately, he had his back to me against the ropes there, but referee O'Connell was fairly well sighted, I think. He didn't warn him for it. So he'll lose a 2-point round there. I don't always agree with the WBC on that, and I know that the retired referee, Harry Gibbs, didn't always think that if somebody got up off the floor and won the rest of the round, he could at least maybe level the round, but at worst only lose by 1 point. So it's into the 5th round then. Oh, there goes that left hook. Reminiscent, as I say, the one that he knocked out Don Curry with, the former welterweight champion.
So McCallum trying to back Jones up a bit more now, get more leverage into the shots.
I remember writing in my notebook at the Montreal Olympics, M. McCulloch, Jamaica, keep an eye on him. He looked the business those days. And before that, he boxed in Cuba in the World Championship. He's only 17. And he boxed on stage not so long ago against the other American at Hammersmith in London. He's got time to do it now. Early in the round, he's caught this guy now. He left it a bit late last time. Now you know why they call him the body snatcher. There's lots of oohs coming from this London Arena crowd in the Docklands.
Jones taking these punches so well. That's a surprise. I mean, McCallum's catching him cleanly. That was a good shot again.
And he throws him back too. What a gutsy, look at this, what a gutsy guy he is.
Well, we wondered, was this guy due a world title fight, but he's put us in his place, Reg. He certainly deserves it.
Yep, when he came in, I didn't think he belonged in the same ring or town as it happens, but full marks to him. But he really is shipping a bit now, though, Jim. Isn't he? He doubled up the right hand there. That's unusual. McCallum.
But the trouble is, Reg, the guy's throwing good punches back, so the referee can't step in when Jones is coming back with decent shots, and he doesn't seem to... That was a good right hand.
If he could land on McCallum's chin and get him over, only lost 2 decisions in his life with 1 draw. One decision against James Toney, the other against Sambu Kalambay, both world champions.
See, he's stepping up a weight, Reg. Not only has McCallum to bring his punch up to that impact, but he has to withstand the punches of these light heavyweights, and a couple of those right hands from Jones. Good solid shots.
Shower bath almost there. They've started putting sort of mats in the corner now at one of the Frank Warren promotions in Wales, and not a bad idea. And then they pull the mat out quickly as the bell goes instead of this old-fashioned sawdust bowl. Let's have a look at it now.
Well, another good round for McCallum. McCallum's certainly winning the rounds clearly enough. But you have to give Jones a lot of credit the way he's taking these shots. I mean, those are solid, clean jabs.
10 seconds.
Yet this guy keeps coming back with decent punches of his own. That was a good right hand.
Seconds out, round 6.
Out for the 6th round. And, well, Mike McCallum, the defending champion, well on top, of course, but a really brave show indeed by Carl Jones, who, if you forgive the fight game vernacular, is no muck. I'm at a loss to find why he should have lost to the Scandinavian Ollie Clementson on the Bo Holyfield bill, because he looks a lot better class than that.
See, I think different fighters, different styles would give Jones problems. Again, pressing against a mover, he would probably struggle, because he's very slow on his feet, and from the waist up he's a little bit stiff. But McCallum, style suits him. He's just a little bit too hot for him, but the style suits him and he can get himself into the fight. But these are good shots again from McCallum.
The variety of punch, Jim, is really exceptional with McCallum, isn't it? You just have no idea what he's going to... I mean, he starts it off with a rangefinder left jab, you know, like that. And then he'll whip in all kinds of angles of punches. But as you say, moving up the weight, he's got to carry that extra poundage with him, and in the punch as well. And the light heavyweight might take them better than the super middleweights.
Yeah, it might dish them out a little bit better. I mean, some of these right hands Jones is throwing, pretty vicious looking.
Brave battle here by Carl Jones. It really had it to him. Does the record not suggest that? 30 fights, 22-1, stopped 12, lost 4, drawn 4. Against McCallum, 50 fights, 147, and 2 very dodgy losses on points with 1 draw.
Jones trying to force McCallum back now. This really is a surprise. I thought McCallum would have punched him out of there by now. This guy's certainly tough.
Well, you know, as he get older, Jim, I imagine it's a bit tougher to get the second wind. I know you can say, well, it's all right for Foreman, but the old man, but he takes his time a little bit more than McCallum. He throws a mile of punches compared with Foreman.
I think a fast pace isn't so bad if you're the one controlling the pace, and that's what McCallum's doing. He's controlling everything that's happening in here.
Look at that, twice with the right hand. He's a bit saucy, that is. close seconds. There is Hedgeman Lewis, who fought John Stracey in London on the outside of the ring. Jim's have another look at this replay.
Well, another good round for McCallum, but it just seems to be throwing jolting little punches now, as though maybe he feels this guy is not ready to be knocked out yet. So just keeping himself on top, chiseling away, just trying to chisel out the fella's resolve and maybe go for a knockout later.
That's Roger Mayweather as well, calling in the corner, former world champion, and his manager Al Rodriguez. And
Seconds up, round 7.
And we're out for the 7th round then. The 175-pound division WBC light heavies. And got a very big welcome into the ring, Mike McCallum, with large Jamaican contingent around him and in the crowd. I saw him do a similar job as this, Jim, all those years back in '84 at Madison Square Garden, McCallum, when he defeated Sean Mannion. He won every round, and they were 15 rounds those days.
Yeah, I think Mannion was just a little bit of a goalkeeper. I think the surprise was that he lasted the 15 rounds. But the surprising thing here is McCallum winning every round, but he hasn't really shaken this fellow. You know, he hasn't really...
Just in the second round, though, that his legs went a bit, but he recovered so well, didn't he?
Yeah, but I mean more mentally, you know, he hasn't upset him. This fellow's still as keen now as he was at the first bell. A good body shot. He doesn't seem to have dented the fellow's confidence at all. Good shots.
The crowd can see those from the back of the hall, obviously not as close as you came. Yeah, this time, Jim, I really think he could do it. Yes, the referee's in. I thought he would. And the American won't like that at all. He won't like that at all. But full compassion there by the London referee, Larry O'Connell, former boxer himself, knows what it's all about. And I think really he's done Carl Jones a favour. On the other hand, his pride is hurt, but well, that only comes second best to the body. So the first successful defence then for Mike McCallum at 38 years old, and what a boxer he is. James, have a look at that finish.
Yeah, good finish, and a British referee would always stop a fight when it reached this stage, but the Americans obviously don't like it. They feel their man was still well in the fight, which he probably was, although not winning the rounds. But he started having his head knocked back, and I think that's what upset referee O'Connell and made him decide to stop the fight. Excellent performance from McCallum, but I can see how the Americans would maybe feel a little bit roughly there, because in America this fight would have gone on for at least another 3 or 4 rounds. But McCallum boxing beautifully, well in control. See this, when the head starts getting knocked about, British referees don't like that one bit. See head rolling on the shoulders, McCallum just picking him off. In a British ring, this will always be stopped. But what a good challenge Jones put up. What a tremendous champion Mike McCallum is.
I've got to say, I think it was the right stoppage, Jim. I know in boxing terms, OK, you might have let him go on a bit, but he hadn't won anything. And, well, I think I'm on Larry O'Connell's side there.
Yeah, same here.
Better be safe than sorry.
I'm just making the point, the Americans won't like it one bit.
Well, the Americans might not like it one bit, but firstly, I was very pleased that Larry O'Connell stepped in when he did. What a classy show, though, from Mike McCallum. More big fights coming your way here on ITV next Saturday night, 10 o'clock. It's Naz time. Prince Nassim Hamed against Sergio Liendo of the Argentine. We're up in Scotland for that one. It's live on ITV at 10 o'clock. Now, there's a competition coming up. You could join us for that fight. A couple of ringside seats, champagne dinner, a real VIP weekend. And the competition coming up in just a moment. Let me just tidy up last weekend's competition for you. Remember, we wanted to know who was the greatest heavyweight of all time in your choice. Not surprisingly, we went for Muhammad Ali, and Mr. Rob Stringer from Lancing in West Sussex was our winner. And I think he chose the £1,000 in cash that, of course, you can choose as well if you don't want to come and join us at the Nassim fight next Saturday night. Well, here's the question for this week, and it's down to the middleweights. Who, in your opinion, is the greatest of these 3 middleweights? A, Marvellous Marvin Hagler. B, Thomas Hitman Hearns. or C, Sugar Ray Leonard. 0891 90 00 00. 0891 90 0000, the number to ring. The lines open till midday on Tuesday, and of course we will make up our minds who was the greatest there. Great fighter coming up next. The old ragamuffin man, Lloyd Honeyghan, against the unbeaten Adrian Dodson. Again, now we've got a lovely little cameo of a fight for you. Lloyd Honeyghan insisting he's still got a lot to offer at the age of 34. Former world champion, of course, against the young, ambitious Adrian Dodson. Dodson, the southpaw, keen to show he's capable of breaking into the big time.
Second down.
Well, this has all the makings of a real needle fight between Lloyd Honeyghan, the former world champion, and the up-and-coming Adrian Dodson. Only 11 fights against a man who's had 47. And the Board of Control has told it to behave themselves after some of the remarks that have been made. And there's a strong referee here in Richie Davis. He gave them a real going over in the introductions there. Behave yourselves, I'm in charge, and stick to the rules. So the southpaw then, Adrian Dodson, if you haven't seen him before, he's got a lot of ability. Boxed in 2 Olympic Games representing Guyana and Britain. Greatest wins we've ever seen in an American ring, of course, was Honeyghan defeating Don Curry in Atlantic City back in '86, seen on ITV. Oh dear, it looks as though he's got him early on, Dodson. It's the first raising class he's had. He's lost control of his legs completely in the opening round here, Honeyghan. Can he get over it? I doubt that.
Well, he's been asking for trouble since the first bell, Reg. No defence, hands at his side. And he's paying the full penalty here.
Is he going to use that ropes as a bit of a catapult? No, he hasn't got control of his legs now.
Honeyghan was very, very good at this when he was at his peak. But the reflex is slow and you have to change with the times, and he hasn't done that. Paid the full penalty for pretty much boxing stupidity in the first round. No defence.
Remember, he had a couple of beatings with Marlon Starling and Mark Freeland, but you didn't expect it. Well, say you didn't expect it. I dare say Dodson was actually the betting favourite, the youngster. You know, this is basically a young man's game. I don't tell George Foreman I said that.
At least Honeyghan has the sense not to get involved. He knows he's lost a round. He's struggling here. He's just trying to keep his chin out of trouble. Don't take any chances, but his movements are not right.
The leg movements that's bothering me, Jim. He hasn't got control of them yet.
No, he hasn't thrown the effects of that punch yet.
Dodson really is a little bit word wide in the almost in the Eubank and the Nassim Hamid class. I think it tells you what he thinks.
Well, Dodson knows if Honeyghan's legs have gone, there'll be no powerful punches coming back, so he can take chances, go completely on the attack here.
Not worried about his bravery at all, Honeyghan, Jim. That one with Vinny Pazienza in Atlantic City was really something else. When the commissioner actually dived in the ring before the referee did to stop it. And he fought his heart out that day, Honeyghan. But, you know, 34, sooner or later, it catches up with you in this game. But he looks as though, yes, he has. He recovered okay from this round. Yes. Some record, really. I mean, four defeats, and the wins he had over Don Curry was tremendous, and defended his championship. He won the British title against Mickey Hughes. So he had 9 title fights between 86 and 90. This is how he went down, Jim.
Yeah, well, his hands were always far too low. He backed off with no defence, and that's what happens when you do that in the fight game. The ropes kept him upright, but legs had gone. At least he was looking straight back at Dodson there, but he was badly shaken.
And there's the unbeaten then, Stock Tate, the American trainer in the corner. Boxed in Seoul and Barcelona, and was the 1990 ABA welterweight champion.
10 seconds. Seconds out. Round 2.
Second round then. Well, a shaky one indeed there for the former world champion, Lloyd Honeyghan. Trying to regain some of those glories.
But even when Honeyghan tries to deliver a punch, Reg, the hands move, but the legs don't follow through. He's not getting his body weight and he's punching together. His coordination, just something wrong with it. Legs still a little bit shaky.
Still digs a bit, but it's a question of can he land on this fella. It's such a move up in class. Not beyond the 6th round, Adrian Dotson had finished. 5 in the first round he's had. But I've always liked his amateur boxing. I thought he was outstanding and very disappointed he didn't win a medal of any colour in Barcelona.
Honeyghan getting some punches off now. This is a little improvement. Getting forward a little bit more.
Mind you, I should add that Dodson was very upset at the weight that the ABA chose him for there. He thought welterweight was too light for him, and now he's 11 stone 2, light middleweight. I suppose he was right. Training in the States as well. He won the Golden Gloves there at one time and the Best Boxer Award in the New York Golden Gloves. Oh, he got the first right hand through there. Little touch of the old Honeyghan there.
Yep, his boxing certainly improved. He's got his act together, getting some body weight into the shots now. He was just kind of pushing his hands out in the first round.
Good amateur as well, of course. Honeyghan, Downside and Fisher Club, box for England, but he never won an ABA championship. He pulled himself together well here, Honeyghan, Jim.
Yep.
So that's a little touch of experience that counts.
That's what he's doing, calling on his experience, getting good punches off here. You have to remember at his peak, Honeyghan was one of the best fighters to come out of this country. Tremendous attitude for the game. Nice right hand again from Honeyghan. Dodson taking too long to get his punches off here. Just getting a little bit outsmarted in this round.
Well, he hasn't had too many opponents throwing much leather at him, really, even on those 11 fights, Jim. He's never been under any real pressure.
No, well, we said it was time to step him up in class and let's see what he can do.
It's amazing, really. It's quite a different Honeyghan in the second round. Well, it looks as though he's coming over here for an interview. Sorry, Lloyd. he's a little bit of show because I think he said something about I told you I could do it, but he couldn't. Through the gum shield, I'm afraid I couldn't understand the old ragamuffin. He said, I think he said, I'm the man, if I could dare read his lips.
Well, it's nice he's got his confidence back after the shaky first round, but all the good punches in that round came from Lloyd. Good round. Good leading punches, getting body weight behind the right hand. Dodson did very little work at all in that round.
.25 years old, this fellow.
Second up, round 3.
Third round coming up then, scheduled for 10. 11 stone division. Very shaky start indeed for Lloyd Honeyghan. And the southpaw Adrian Dodson, the sort of young pretender on the block now. And then the second round, Honeyghan came back very well. And as I say, we think he said, I'm the man. He had the cheek to walk right across to the commentary position. But I've known him since back in his amateur days, and luckily ITV covered him winning against Don Curry in America. What a sensation that was. The first of the weight since the great Takered Lewis. A little bit of surprise there for Dodson, yeah, but he's still a very capable young prospect, really, isn't he? But youth prospect 25, he should have been matured by now.
Yeah, but it's fights such as this with men who really know the business inside out. They'll probably remind him he still has a lot to learn. Hunnigan using all the tricks, keeping him off balances, judging the range to perfection. But still, for my liking, taking too many chances. Good solid left hands coming through from Dodson now.
Midway through the third.
Hunnigan's chin never still for a second, and that's what's given Dodson so many problems. Dodson just still not getting through cleanly. Well, a punch caused that. I mean, in effect, it was a knockdown.
Yeah, he did touch the canvas as well. Technically, he could have caught it, I suppose.
But no time to count, and we don't have the mandatory 8 count, so the referee was quite right to stay out of it. Hunnigan been caught now by the shot. His head rolling.
And he stopped it. Stopped it. Hunnigan's probably saying what for. Now, this is a repeat of when he was defeated by Vinny Pazienza. Well, that makes a change, doesn't it? For the boxer to be lifting his second back instead of him being lifted up. But Richie Davis is saying, no, that was it. I didn't want to see you take any more punishment. I dare say Hunnigan said, I'm still wily enough, and wild enough in this case, to come back. But led back to the corner by Mick Williams. And, well, Jim, I hate to say it, but I hope really now that that's the end of a terrific career for Lloyd Hunnigan.
Yeah, well, Hunnigan, he probably feels aggrieved because he was still ducking and diving and trying to ride the storm, but he was doing nothing. Nothing was coming back, and those 2 shots alone, and you can see the way his head hit against the pad there. The referee quite right to stop the fight. And bang, that was a solid shot. Another solid shot. Look at the way Hunnigan's head's going here. 3 solid shots in the trot with no reply. Head fell back against the pad. Another 2 shots, and Dodson ready to tee off once again. Referee picked the right spot.
We'll see more of that fella, Adrian Dodson. I hope that Lloyd Hunnigan doesn't get tempted to fight again after that. Good performance from Crawford Ashley, the British light heavyweight champion here this evening. Might remember he had a terrific fight, that's Ashley with the sort of ponytail there. Terrific fight with Nicky Piper down in Cardiff. He was up against American Charles Oliver. Didn't take him too long. Oliver, a little bit damaged around the eye, and the fight was stopped in the 3rd round. Now, sadly, I have to report we've had some very disturbing news from the hospital about GERALD McCLELLAN. GERALD McCLELLAN, the American fighter who collapsed at the end of his fight with Nigel Benn, has gone into surgery for a removal of a blood clot on his brain. That surgery is expected.
Fight. Boxing authorities, amateur and professional, have since tightened up their medical arrangements, but many say that's not good enough.
How many times do I have to be saying this? Now all of these other people agree with me. Most doctors now go along with this. You know, the idea that we should ban boxing.
Others argue a ban would simply drive the sport underground, and boxers willingly accept the risks.
No boxer or boxing official could actually say to you that boxing is safe, and they'd be wrong to try and do so. But what they can actually say is that the people that do take part in it are aware of what they're doing.
All sides agree that as long as the sport continues, more injuries are inevitable. Christopher Bachman, GMTV News.
Sinn Féin will today formulate its response to the framework document on Northern Ireland. As the party's annual conference ends its 2nd day in Dublin, a GMTV Sunday programme.
The time is almost 11 minutes past 11. At approximately 11:42, 10 minutes later than published in